Hello, thank you so much for showing up and joining me for some yoga today. This sequence is going to be an earth flow, which will start off really grounded, and the purpose is to really focus on our hips and hip opening, which is going to feel amazing. So we'll start off in child's pose, and in this variation of child's pose, we're going to have the knees wide. So if you take the foundation to be your shins and the tops of your feet to your mat, and then open your knees the width of the mat. Position the big toes together so that they meet. Sit your hips all the way down to your heels, and then start to walk your hands forward. So your fingertips are coming towards the top of the mat. Forehead lowers down. And as you come into this wide-kneed child's pose, simply notice where you're feeling sensation in your body. As you settle into this shape, check in on your breath. Notice each inhalation and each exhalation. Notice how good it feels to just ground down and give yourself this time to be with your body. If you need something to focus on, you can continue to find your breath and lengthen the breath. Taking deep inhalations, followed by slow exhalations. You might even rock your forehead from side to side. Continue to ground down. We'll take another full round of breath here. Maybe reaching the fingers towards the top of the mat, deepening the stretch at the arms and the shoulders. And then slide the hands towards your body. Straighten the arms, lift the head, reach the crown of the head up. Coming back into the space. From here, we'll come into a tabletop position. So we'll bring the knees towards hip distance. We'll lift the hips and we'll check our alignment as we come into this tabletop position. So we want the knees under the hips, wrist under the shoulders, fingers are spread wide. You can go ahead and drop your head, look between your knees, and if you can see your feet, just open them out until you can't see them anymore. Now in our tabletop position, we'll give some attention to our spine. So as we inhale, we'll let the belly lower towards the mat. As we exhale, we'll lift the back, really creating space between the shoulder blades. As we inhale, we find extension for the spine. As we exhale, we find flexion. So we'll take another full round. And then it's back to a neutral tabletop position. Now from here, we're going to practice our kneeling balance and also take an opportunity to possibly get a quad stretch. So from here, we're going to lift and lengthen that right leg. Option to stay here or option to lift the left arm, reaching the fingers forward. Option to stay here, or if you want to go deeper, you can bend your right knee and take your left hand back, connecting hand to foot. Gaze is going to be forward. Press foot to hand, feel the quad stretch. And then gently release and re-extend. Left hand meets the mat. Right knee meets the mat. Take a full round of breath here. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. Coming into the other side, inhale, lift and lengthen the left leg. Option to lift the right hand, reach it forward as if you're going to shake someone's hand. Staying here is a great option. Or if you want to go deeper, bend the left knee and take the right hand back, connecting hand to foot. Gaze is forward. Press foot to hand. Hold and breathe. And on the next exhale, we'll release, re-extend. Then the right hand comes down to the mat. Left knee comes down. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, let it go. Now, looking at your hands, walk them one hand placement forward. This is going to give you a little more space as we transition to downward facing dog. Now, curling the toes, lift the hips way up high, press them back. Think about positioning the ears between the biceps. And think about sending the chest towards the thighs. Now, to get a deeper stretch for the legs and the hips, we'll focus one side at a time. So taking a deep bend in one knee, opposite leg straightens, and then try that on the other side. And we'll take 2 more on each side. Warming up the legs, feeling good in your body. And feeling so grateful to have this body that allows you to move, breathe, and live. And finishing off this last round. And then from downward facing dog, we're slowly going to walk our feet towards our hands. As we get there, we can bring our palms up to our shins, taking a half lift. And then as we exhale, we'll fold, hinging at the hips, letting the arms dangle. Completely releasing the head and the neck. Maybe rocking the head from side to side or forward and back. Now, if you're feeling too much sensation at the back of the legs, at the hamstrings, you can bend your knees. Or if the hamstrings are more open, you can straighten your legs. Arms can dangle, or your hands can find opposite elbows, framing your head with your arms. And as we breathe into this standing forward fold, we can come back to the option of bending one knee as the opposite leg straightens. Now, when I'm taking this option, I like to send the hip of the straight leg back because that intensifies the stretch for me. So if that feels available to do in your body today, maybe you take that option. Or maybe you decide to just stay in stillness. If you're taking the knee bends, go ahead and take your last round. Find your way back to center, either with legs straight or knees bent. And if you're holding onto your elbows, release the hands. Maybe take the hands to the ankles and then pull the torso towards the legs, deepening the stretch if that feels appropriate. Stretching the back of the body and decompressing the spine. Releasing the hands from the ankles, soften the knees, take a little micro bend, and slowly start to rise up. Take your time, there's no rush. Slow, slow, slow. Head is going to come up last to prevent us from getting dizzy. And we arrive to a standing position. Now, as we come into this standing position, we're in Tadasana. Arms are by our sides. On an inhale breath, arms rise up, fingertips towards the sky. Exhale, hinge at the hips, back to our forward fold. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale. Now plant the hands. Step the right toes way back. Step the left toes back. So we're in plank position. From here, we can lower knees, chest, chin, and then we come onto the belly. Inhale, lift the chest, gaze forward. Exhale, straighten the arms, lift the hips. curl the toes, it's back to downward facing dog. So take a moment, find your alignment. Maybe rock the hips from side to side. Find center on your next inhale. Lift and lengthen that right leg. Exhale, bend the knee. Bring it under your body. Step the right foot forward. Inhale, the arms are going to rise up. Gaze is forward. Right knee is tracking above the right ankle. And then we'll lower the left knee down. Now from here, you can uncurl the back toes, press the hips forward. If your knee's coming past your toes, you can shimmy the foot forward, and then the arms can rise up. This is our knee down lunge, Anjaneyasana. From here, we're going to take the hands down to the inside of the right foot. So you might shimmy that right foot wider so that you can bring your hands to the center of the mat. Now coming into our lizard lunge, we might decide to splay that right knee out, getting external rotation for the hip. Or we might come onto our forearms. You decide. This is your practice. The jingle jangle in the background, if you hear it, is my dog. She is close by, always wanting to be included. Maybe you have some pets that like to do yoga with you at home too. Now, if you're on your forearms, go ahead and press palms to the mat. Straighten the arms. Now you can bend your back knee. See how that feels. If that doesn't feel good, you can release. Or maybe you take your right hand, reach back, open the shoulder, gaze up, hold and breathe. And then gently release. Re-extend, slowly lowering that back foot down. And then from here, start to shift the hips back. So you're going to uncurl the back toes, and you want to shift back enough to bring your left hip above your left knee. Straighten that right leg. Now from here, you can lift your right toes, fingertips or palms to the ground or to blocks. From here, maybe you point your right toes, get a deep stretch at the top of the foot. And then flex the toes, release any cramping that might have happened at the arch of the foot. Take an inhale breath, and as you exhale, plant the palms, fold forward. So you're bringing your torso towards your right leg. With each exhalation, fold a little deeper. Allow yourself time to sink in and deeply stretch that right hamstring, but with care. Deep stretch, but not to the point of pain or major discomfort. Your next inhale, lift your head. And slide your right foot back. So your right knee is in line with your left. Walk the hands forward. Spread the fingers wide. Curl the toes. Lift the hips back to downward facing dog. Finding your alignment. Inhale, lift and lengthen that left leg. Exhale, bend the knee. Bring it under the body. Step it through. Inhale, the arms are going to rise up. Our gaze is forward. And then we're softly going to lower that right knee down. Now we'll press the hips forward. Maybe shimmy that left foot forward if you need to keep that left knee tracking above the ankle. Now I can really feel that this side is tighter than the other. our right psoas. And then exhale is going to bring the hands down to the inside of the left foot. So maybe shimmying that left foot out so you can position your hands to the center of the mat. Back toes can uncurl. Maybe we stay here. Maybe that left knee splays out. You might like the sensation rolling to the pinky edge. You might take the option of coming onto your forearms, positioning the elbows in line with the arch of the left foot. This is our lizard lunge. Option to stay here, or if you came into the quad stretch on the other side, you can set yourself up for that. Pressing palms to the mat. So first checking, making sure the arms are straight. Then lifting that right foot. See first how that feels. If you want to keep it lifted, then you can reach that left hand back, connecting hand to foot. Open the shoulder, maybe gaze up. Feel the stretch. Then release the foot and take the left hand back down, gently lower the back foot, uncurl the toes, come onto the fingertips, shift the hips back so the right hip is above the right knee. Bring that left foot in line with the left hip, make sure the left leg is straight, and then point the left toes. Give yourself just a couple rounds of breath to feel a really nice stretch at the top of the foot. And then when we're ready to release, we'll just flex the toes. From here, we'll take an inhale breath. And as we exhale, we'll fold our torso towards the mat. Staying here for a few rounds of breath. Deepening the stretch at the left hamstring. Maybe closing the eyes and bringing all of our awareness to the sensation that we're feeling in our body. Preparing to come out. We'll do this on an inhale breath, lifting the head, lifting the gaze, coming onto the fingertips, and now sliding that left foot back. So we're bringing the left knee in line with the right, walking the hands forward. Now from here, we're going to curl the toes, lift the hips back to our downward facing dog. Feel it out. Find your alignment. Maybe you take a moment to come back to knee bends or rocking the hips from side to side. You choose. And from here, we'll slowly walk the feet towards the hands, taking your time. There's no rush. Inhale, we're going to take a half lift. And then exhale, we'll fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. One more time. And from here, come into a half lift. And start to maybe just have your fingertips down. Lift your left foot And then see if you want to keep your fingertips down as you stay in this warrior three. Another option is that you can use the help of blocks. So maybe you take your blocks underneath your hands, or you can have your hands at your heart center. So in our warrior three, we want to square the hips. We want them to be in line with each other. We don't want to stack them. Feel the engagement in the left hip. Option to stay here, or maybe you come into your standing split, lifting that left leg up, coming out when you're ready. So as we come out, we're going to drop that back foot to the back of the mat, rotate back foot to 90 degrees. So there's a bend in the right knee, and the back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Now we're going to fly the arms. So we're coming into our warrior two. From our warrior two, it's extended side angle. So we're going to bend the elbow, lift the left arm, bring it overhead. Right palm is facing up, left palm is facing down. On the next inhale, it's back to warrior two. Now press into that right foot, straighten the right leg, reach the right fingers forward, and then rotate your arms for triangle. Maybe the hands come down to a block. Maybe the fingertips come down to the mat, but don't stress. If you feel like you're dumping, maybe you have a higher lift, back of the hand to the calf muscle. Now from here, we're going to revolve our triangle. So we're going to take the left hand to the inside of the right ankle, lift the right fingers up, twist to the right. That feels so good in my right hip and my lower back. Right hand comes down. Now from here, transitioning, we're going to keep the hands down, come onto the left toes, step the right toes back. So we're in plank position. Now we can lower down knees, chest, shin, or we can take a chaturanga. As we inhale, coming into upward facing dog. And as we exhale, coming into downward facing dog. Taking a moment to find our breath. And then slowly walking our feet towards our hands. If you use your blocks on the other side, maybe you incorporate them. This time the left foot stays down, right foot lifts. So for our warrior three, we want to flex that right foot. Remember, you want to square the hips, you don't want to stack them. Imagine that if somebody put a glass on your sacrum, you'd be able to hold it up. Option to stay in your warrior three, or option to bring your hands down and fly that right leg. Wherever you are, take a micro bend and then deepen the bend in the left knee. Drop that right foot back. So the right foot's at 90, bend in the left knee. We're in our warrior two. From here, we're going to bend that left elbow, lower forearm to the thigh. Reach the right fingers overhead. Now positioning the right bicep above the right ear. On our next inhale, we'll rotate the arms back to warrior two. Press into that left foot, straighten the left leg. Reach the left fingers forward. And then rotate your arms for triangle. So remember, maybe the left hand comes down to a block. Maybe it's available to take your fingertips down to the mat. Try not to collapse. And if that's too much, remember, back of the hand can rest to the calf muscle. Now, keeping the legs as they are, we're going to revolve our triangle. So we're going to bring the right hand down and we're going to twist to the left, reaching the left fingers up. As you exhale, take the left hand down. Pop onto the right toes, step the left toes back. It's plank position. Now, taking a vinyasa, we can lower down chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale to child's pose or inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale, lift the hips. It's downward facing dog. An opportunity to find the breath, to find stillness, to check in on both sides of the body. And from here, we'll bend the knees, lower them down, widen the knees, bring the big toes together, come back to child's pose. And taking a few rounds of breath here, simply noticing how this child's pose feels compared to the first one you took at the very start of class. Noticing if the hips feel a little more open. Noticing your breath. Noticing where your attention is going. From here, we'll slowly start to transition out. From child's pose, we're going to find ourselves back to a tabletop position. So with the knees wide, we'll bring the knees back in hip distance, and then we'll position the wrist under the shoulders. We're going to start to circle around, leading with the hips for our Muladhara Kriya. So think about maybe taking the hands forward a little bit if you need a little more space. Now we're going to bring that right hip towards the right wrist, shine the heart forward, take it over to the left, and then press the hips back, child's pose, just for a round of breath. Exhale, let go. Inhale, lift, lead with the right hip, circle around, find your way back to child's pose. Just one round of breath. Inhale, lift and lead again with the right side. Back to child's pose. Now on your next inhale breath, lift and now lead with the left hip. Circle it around. Find your way to child's pose. Full round of breath here. Inhale, lead with the left again. Okay, here she comes. You might see Miss Lilu in the frame. She's a good girl. We'll let her stay. And then one more time, circling the hips around. This time, as you come back into child's pose, go ahead and give yourself a couple more rounds of breath. Decide if you want to take the knees wider, or alternatively, if your low back has been bothering you lately, you can bring your knees together, feet together. And in this variation of child's pose, bringing your forehead down towards the mat, arms by your sides. The arms by your sides, this is going to allow you to release the shoulders and the low back. Just breathe. Preparing to come out, take your hands under your shoulders. Inhale, lift your head. Then we'll walk the hands forward, coming back towards that tabletop position. Now setting up for our pigeon pose. So for pigeon pose, we're going to take the right knee behind the right wrist. we'll extend that left leg. You can look over your left shoulder, make sure the left leg is straight, including the foot. Now, from here, you can lower down onto your forearms. Maybe you stay propped up if your right hip is really tight today, like mine is. Or if you're ready to go deeper, maybe you take the elbows wider, stack one hand on top of the other, make a pillow for your forehead. So I know this can be a really intense hip opener. If you notice that you're really holding on to tension, see if you can soften as you exhale. Notice that the more you surrender, the more you'll feel that hip release. I'm going to take just one more round of breath here. Don't worry, it's almost time to come out. Slowly lift the head. Press the palms to the mat. Now, before we come on to the other side, we're going to incorporate another pose. So we're just going to lean onto that right hip, slide the left leg around, and we're going to stack the left leg on top of the right. But before we do that, let's position the right ankle in line with the right knee, and then we'll take the left leg on top. So the left ankle's resting on the right knee, the left knee is hovering above the right ankle. So this is our double fire log, Agni Stambhasana. Fingertips come down to the mat. Inhale, reach the crown of the head up towards the sky. Exhale, hinge at the hips, start to fold forward. Now you might want to bring your hands in front of your legs. Maybe the palms are grounded down. Maybe you walk the hands forward and come onto your forearms. Maybe you fold a little deeper. Not only is this a really great hip stretch, but you're also able to get flexion for the spine. I like the variation of bringing my arms to the sides and lowering my forehead down. If that's available for you, maybe you want to try it. And then inhale, we'll lift the head up. Find that straight spine. And before we find pigeon on the other side, we're just going to switch the legs. So we're going to let the left leg ground down. Remember, ankle in line with the knee. And then the right leg comes on top. So when you look down in your lap, you should be able to see an upside down triangle. Then when you're ready, take your fingertips outside of the hips or bring the fingertips forward. Give yourself a moment to just feel into this hip. And then as you exhale, decide how much you want to walk your hands forward, how much you want to fold. This feels so good in my hips. I hope it feels good in your body as well. Fully melt into this pose. With each exhale, soften, surrender, let go. And the next inhale, rise up, slowly taking your time. And now we want to lift the right leg, take it to the right. Leave the left leg where it is. Bring your hands forward. So we're setting up for pigeon now on this side. So we want to check past that right shoulder. Make sure the right leg is straight, including the foot. Option to stay here or option to walk the hands forward. Maybe coming onto your forearms. Maybe this is enough for you. If so, that's okay. You can always position a little pillow underneath the hip if you've got a lot of space. You can also take the elbows out wide, stacking one hand on top of the other, making a pillow for your forehead. Settle in. With each exhale, think about softening the heart, the chest towards the mat. Know that if you're to the point of pain or major discomfort, you can back out a little bit. We've got one more full round of breath in our pigeon pose on this side. And as we slowly and carefully start to come out, we'll press palms to the mat, straighten the arms, and we'll just lean over onto that left hip. Now sliding that right leg around. So we'll bring both feet in front of us. The knees are bent. Now we're going to prepare ourselves to come back into a reclined position. So take your time to lay down. Make sure that you can feel your tailbone, your back, your shoulders, your head onto the mat. As you ground down, you can bring your heels towards your glutes and just give yourself a couple rounds of breath in this neutral spine. Maybe you rock the head from side to side, just feeling into the neck. And bring the head back to center. And from here, we'll lift the right foot, take the right ankle to the left thigh. Now lift the left foot, reach the right hand between the legs, take the left arm around the outside of the left thigh, interlace the fingers. Now keeping the ankle in line with the knee, pull the thigh towards the body. So the palms are pulling the left thigh towards the body. You can draw circles with your left big toe for ankle mobility, and then circle around opposite direction. Bring the foot to stillness and notice that the more you pull the thigh towards your body, the deeper you're intensifying the stretch at the right hip. On the next exhale, we'll release the hands and just cross that right knee over the left. Open the arms out to the sides. Take an inhale breath. As you exhale, lower both knees over to the left. Focus on keeping that right shoulder down. Spinal twist. Maybe you take your left palm to gently rest the outside of the right thigh, not pushing, just a little gentle assist. And then release that left hand. On your next inhale, lift the knees up to center. Feel yourself rolling onto your back. Unwind the legs, bring both feet down to the mat. Take a full round of breath here. Now lift that left foot, bring the ankle to the right thigh, just above the knee. Lift the right foot, position the ankle in line with the knee. Reach the left hand between the legs, take the right arm around the outside of the leg, interlace the fingers. Feel the palms now at the right hamstring. Now pull the thigh towards the body. As you do this, you can draw circles with your right big toe. And then switch the direction. Bring the foot to stillness. Decide if you want to continue to pull the right thigh towards the body even more. By now, your hips should be feeling a little more open than when we first started class. And then we'll release the hands, cross the left knee over the right, open the arms out, take a big inhale breath. As you exhale, take both knees over to the right. Keep that left shoulder down. Now, as you come into your spinal twist, That right hand might gently rest to the outside of the left thigh. Just hold and breathe. Hi, Lulu. I'm getting lots of kisses in my spinal twist. Almost time to come out. On your next inhale, lift the knees up, roll on to the back. Keep the feet lifted. Open the knees wide and position the soles of the feet towards the ceiling. I like to take my peace fingers to hook onto my big toes for happy baby. You might take your hands to the pinky sides of your feet or to your ankles or to the back of your knees. Wherever you're reaching, just make sure you can keep your tailbone connected. So in your happy baby, you can stay still or you can gently rock from side to side, giving yourself a nice massage for your back muscles. You can straighten one leg at a time if you'd like. Just give yourself time to explore this pose and the options. And then when you're ready, release your feet or your legs. And drop the soles of the feet down to the mat and extend the legs. So you're going to straighten the legs, bringing your heels to the top of the mat, creating space between the legs. Open the arms out to the sides and gently rock the toes towards each other and then away. So as you're rocking the feet in and out, you feel movement going up the legs into the hips. So we're in our star shape. You can relax the feet now. Find stillness in the body. This is a great place to arrive so that we can practice integrating all the movement that we just did. So option to stay in your Shavasana. And for the length of our sequence today, I recommend about 7 or 8 minutes of relaxation and presence with yourself. If you don't want to practice Shavasana, that's okay too. Do whatever you need to do. It's your practice. If you decide to take this time of relaxation, just let your eyes close and let your body be really heavy. Completely letting yourself sink down into the mat. Letting yourself stay here for as long as you want or need to today to close out your practice. I'll close with you here now by offering you advice from a tree. Stand tall and proud. Go out on a limb. Remember your roots and drink plenty of water. Thank you all so much for showing up, for practicing today, for being here now in your own body. Namaste.